up, guys? Here for another manga review slash recommendation. It's fucking snowing out, by the way. Look at that. It's crazy. Okay, so today I'm going to be reviewing Satoshi Kon's Opus. This, guys, is a must read, and I'm going to tell you why it's a must read right now. Well, I first saw this when it was released. I was in Barnes and Nobles, and I saw this on a new releases rack, and I just picked it up. I didn't know what it was about at all. Started reading it, and I just couldn't stop because it was so interesting. So it's basically about a guy who's writing a manga called Resonance, and he's working on the conclusion of that manga. So the main character is called Nagai, and he's this person that's writing the manga, and the story opens up with showing some of the last chapter, and then it pulls out to him, Nagai, discussing it with his editor. Nagai is showing him the final battle, and it's going to be with the two main characters, Satoko and Lin, fighting the evil villain, the Mask. And the way it ends is that Lin sacrifices himself by using all his energy on this one blast and kills the Mask and defeats the enemy. But in return, Lin loses his life. So Lin dies and defeats the Mask, and that's how the story ends. And the editor is like, oh man, I wish you didn't have to kill off Lin, but if that, the guy is just like, well, you know, it's a better effect when you kill off the character that everyone loves, which is a very similar theme in, comics these days too. So right there you see that it has a lot of references for people who write stories, for people who are writers, and that's one of the things I loved about this book, that all the references about being a writer. So that's how it is. He's showing him the rough drafts, the rough sketches, and editor just says, oh, I mean, I wish you didn't have to kill Lin, but whatever, if it's that's how you want to end it, that's cool. Draw the final chapter and we'll publish it. So he goes into his office. He has a strict deadline. He's got to finish this final chapter, draw everything really good, and as he's working on it, he's kind of dozing off and kind of really trying to stay awake because he's trying to draw all night to reach the deadline. And he finishes the drawing of the last page. He finally does doze off, and when he wakes up again, he's staring at the page, but the page looks different. He looks at the page, and it looks like a huge vent. Instead of it being the last scene of Lin and the Mask fighting, it's just a huge vent, and he looks in it, and he stares down into the page, and he sees Lin, one of the main characters in his story, crawling up with the last page, and he's like, "You're not getting rid of me that easily," and he pulls Nagai into the page. So Nagai is just thrusted into the manga that he created. So that's how the story takes off. He's thrusted into his own manga, and right off the bat, he falls down the vent. He falls right into a fight between Satoko and the villain, the Mask, and he actually lands on top of the Mask. And he sees Satoko, and it's to him it's just a dream. But then he realizes holy shit, this is real. I can touch these characters. I'm seeing these characters. It's just so fun to see Nagai's reaction when he's seeing his characters in real life. He's seeing his characters when he sees Satoko, and he's like, oh, you're exactly how I pictured in real life. You're exactly how your voice is exactly how I pictured you sound, and it's so surreal because then you put yourself there. It's wow, imagine if I met one of the characters that I wrote. It's such a cool feeling because the whole time when he's in that world he created, he's with Satoko, and they're looking for Lin because Lin is the person that has the last page. He has to find the last page and get back to the real world so he could finish publishing his story called Resonance. And this is Satoshi Kon's, this is his forte. This is his themes in every single work that he's done. It's always a theme of blending fantasy and reality, or fiction and reality, what's real, what is not. And it's kind of like a meta story because you're reading a manga about a mangaka who's writing a manga who gets thrusted into that world that he created. So it's like a meta story in a story. It's crazy. I love the references of the world writing. As he's going through this world, it's funny. You see he makes little tropes of picture Bakuman is the story of a mangaka, and you're seeing the process of being a mangaka. So this is the process of a mangaka's creating work, but indirectly. You're indirectly seeing the process of how a mangaka does his work. So which is really cool. That's references to that. I love that the story does a good job of making sense of the whole paradox. You know, like the idea of if you're affecting something in one reality, how does it affect the other reality? And you know, the whole butterfly effect thing. Like some stories don't do that well, but this story does it very well, and he has a good twist on like the rules of affecting the story world, and affecting the real world, or how destroying something in that world will affect his story that he actually wrote. You can't, as a mangaka, you're not gonna write a story about a mangaka and not reference yourself. It's gonna happen, you know. So if the way I looked at it, this was a way to see into the mind of Satoshi Kon, because he's definitely referencing himself, and the guy is definitely him, and he's just showing you what he goes through making it, like all the tropes about writer's assistants and tropes about, you know, when you're creating a world, what you know, what kind of stuff do you do. Like there was one scene where he was going through the world he created, and he saw like the backgrounds, and he saw some of the skyscrapers, and the people were like just looked like two figure like cutouts, and he was like, oh, I should have put a little more detail in that background art. You know, it's little tropes like that where you appreciate it if you're a writer or if you're an artist. Lastly, what I'll talk about is the ending. Now, like the last main point that I really loved this this release was because the ending was not concluded. This story was originally created in like 1995. It was serialized in a weekly magazine in 1995, and before Satoshi Kon could finish the story, the magazine got canceled. Coincidentally, that's when Satoshi Kon's anime career took off, because right around that time is when he got his director's debut for Perfect Blue. So the magazine was canceled. He never finished the story, and then he started working as an anime director. So he never had the time to go back and finish Opus correctly. So in a way, this was his last long form manga. This was his like last story. And of course, everyone knows that, you know, Satoshi Kon died at a young age. I think it was 2010, and he never got a chance to officially publish that last chapter of this story. So after his death, I guess the people at Dark Horse or whatever, they got permission to go look through his files and find rough sketches of the last chapter of Opus, and they put together pieces and they kind of filled in stuff to give us an idea of where the story was going and how it was going to conclude. So the last chapter of this book is all done in like rough sketches based on the rough sketches that was found in Satoshi Kon's files. So it's like an unofficial ending to Opus. I thought that was really interesting because you get to see like Satoshi Kon's actual rough sketches that, you know, him finishing the story. And plus I loved the ending. It was great. All the way through, it was a well thought out story, and if you just love anything by Satoshi Kon, I mean, this is a must read for you guys, a must read. So recommend this to any Satoshi Kon fan and any person who is a mangaka themselves, or is a writer themselves, or is an artist themselves. Just if you ever wonder what it's like to be thrusted into a world that you created, right here, and taken into a world of something that Satoshi Kon wrote, some trippy shit. Satoshi Kon's Opus, just go read it.